Well, thanks for checking out this additional video that we have today for our Lions Roar. I wanted to talk about something that has been on our minds for a long time, and a lot of you have been talking to me about it, and our teachers have been talking about it. And so this summer we had a workforce, or a task force, so to speak, rather, on workload, student workload. And it's one of those things that is just a hard nut to crack. It's hard to figure out exactly what is going to happen for each student in each grade, in each ability level, and each teacher. There's so many different variables going into it, but it doesn't mean that we can't address it. So this summer we had a group that worked on this, and I just want to thank them and put their names out here on the screen so you can thank them as well. They worked several weeks over this summer to kind of research and give us an idea of some things that we can put into practice here at BJA as a general theory of workload and student workload. It's not just homework, and I want to explain that a little bit. What is our philosophy? What is our theoretical framework that we're using? And I'm going to give this to you as brief as I can. We can talk more if you need to, but this will be a high-level approach is how we look at workload. I want to explain it to you now as parents, and hopefully it'll make sense to you. So we all know that as students progress in age, you see here on the screen, primary, elementary, middle school, and high school, as they progress, we know that their ability, their capacity grows. And so that's what this white line represents in our graph, is that their ability to do work and their capacity to handle workload will grow. That's a line that we all understand theoretically. Again, this is not designed to be exactly perfectly to scale and everything. We're just trying to give a general idea. And so this blue line here, it represents the workload that we would expect. It is a range from high to low. And so you kind of see here that the low end of the range and the high end of the range changes as they go. And actually, there's more of a range as you get up into high school as far as what we can expect. So within this range in each age, as you go left to right on this graph, it represents age. And then the amount of workload represented on the y-intercept here on the graph is up and down will grow, and there's a band that is acceptable. So within this band of acceptable workload is what we're calling this here. There is two parts to it. One is the workload that's in class as well as the workload that's out of class. So we're putting that all in that same band. So you notice that it does not come up to the student capacity level exactly, and that's why there's a thing in the middle that we're calling margin. And that is something that we as a school need to recognize, and I want you to know we recognize that there needs to be margin in life. Now you notice that it actually is greater with their children. There's a lot of margin in their lives. They play, obviously their schedule is a little more set for them, but as you get up older, you have less and less just free discretionary time because you have a lot more stuff that you're working on. And so we kind of divided the workload, the acceptable band, and what we're talking about here is in class and out of class load. So that's what we try to represent here. So the two of those stacked together is what we're calling the workload of class. And so obviously while you're in school, the 8 to 3 time is this light blue. We're going to work you hard. The teachers are going to work our students as much as they can, but there is some workload that is expected as they reach a little bit into upper elementary and then certainly middle school a little bit and then into high school, that there will be load outside of class that students are expected to be able to do, that's acceptable part of the workload. But there's also, even in high school, there is a part of margin that we're expecting. And I want to talk about that. What do we mean by margin? It's very important that we define terms here. And so this is what we mean. You see it on the screen. Church life, family life, music, actually extra things in school that you might be able to do, elective things that you can join a sports team. You can do speech and debate, robotics. You might have a job. Those are things that you fit into your margin and still are able to do the workload in a school. Appropriate rest, that's an important thing that is very important to us here at Bob Jones Academy, and we know that it's different for every person how much rest. We always could get more rest, but we want to recognize that even at the highest level, there is an element of margin that we want to recognize in the lives of our students and our families. So out of class, what do we mean by when we say out of class? We mean homework, that we also mean studying and projects and practice of things that were taught in school. And so we're talking with our teachers, and we spent a lot of time in our in-service talking about this and working through. This is what our task force has kind of helped us define some of these things so that when we're talking with you as parents and even as students, we're using the same definitions. In class, that's pretty self-explanatory. You can see that it has to do with things that we're doing in class, instructing. We're explaining how to do it. We try to make it very feedback rich. That's our goal, is to, in class, the students are getting a lot of feedback from the teachers. Yes, you're doing it right. Yes, no, this is how you do it differently. And we have learning objectives that are driving the instruction in the class. And it's there for them to build confidence so that they can work outside of class. And so what we really want is to be able to have a partnership, and you see it on the screen here, between the student, the teacher, and the family. And so we are all going to probably land at different ideas as far as where the workload should be. And so that's why we want to have clear communication, to be transparent with you. That's one of our guiding principles, so that when we are looking together and the teacher has a principal, this represents the principals involved. So together, we are looking at the same theoretical framework and we're talking the same way. And so we're not going to always instantly see the same picture as the other person, and that's okay. This is just to help us start our conversations together as a team and be able to say, okay, I think there's something out of balance here. Let's start talking. It doesn't mean that one person can decide for everyone else exactly what it's going to be. We're going to have to come to some kind of agreement as far as the amount of work and if there needs to be adjustments made together. So I just wanted you to see this. There is a paper attached here to our Lions Roar. Please check that out. It's kind of a white paper, so to speak, where we give more details and also give some steps for you as parents if you think something's out of balance. The first thing is to just check with your student and make sure that they're doing their part. The next is to communicate with the teacher. And so, and openly say, hey, I don't know if other students are struggling, but this is my child's experience, and start that dialogue with the teacher. Only if we run into some kind of impasse where we need more help is where the principal needs to get involved, but the principals are glad to get involved. But the first step would be for a parent and teacher to work out together and say, hey, this is what's happening in class, this is what's happening at home, and we work together for the students' achievement in their best. So we're not trying to give an exact amount of down to the minute or second. We kind of give general guidelines and directives as far as what days have homework, what days do not have homework, based on the different levels. But we know that students' capacities are going to grow, and we want to keep pushing them to their fullest extent. But we also don't want to have homework and school be the only thing that their life consists of. That's not what our philosophy should be. That's certainly not our theoretical idea of what student workload should be. So if you need any help or you want clarification, please reach out to us. Reach out to your child's teacher and say, hey, I'm seeing this. It's taking a lot of time to do this. Is this what you expect? And we can go back and forth and dialogue with that. But we're on the same team, and we know our goal is to build our students, to give them those independent study skills, those executive functioning skills. Some of that comes with hard work and lifting those weights of school rigor, and we want it to be appropriate, but we also don't want it to be too heavy, out of balance, and sometimes it can feel that way, certainly to the students. So let's keep the communication going, and if you have any questions at all, reach out to your individual teacher or your principal. We'd love to talk with you about it. So thanks for listening. Look forward to more communication about this in the future.